8 years I've been living in the Philippines consecutively. Just had my anniversary. In this video, I want to reflect on what my motivations were to come over here, what my life was like prior to arriving here, and what kind of changes or metamorphosis I've gone through since living here, and how it might or might not apply to you. That's what's coming up in the video. Well, as I mentioned there in the little introduction, it has been 8 years that I have lived here in the Philippines. And the first thing I want to talk about, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it, is that just because I have come over here and I have found my way to some degree, that it's not for everyone. I want to get that out of the way first. It's not paradise. It's not nirvana. It's not perfect. It is a developing country. And if you would do me a solid, remember those two words, developing country. Okay, so that comes with its own set of challenges. And there are folks that come over here that I meet that they come over to put their toe in the water, and they decide that after putting their toe in the water, the Philippines is not the pool that they want to swim in for the rest of their life. It's one thing or another. It could be the food, it could be the humidity or the heat, it could be any number of things. Pick your poison. And they decide that they're just going to leave. They gave it a shot and they're going to go back to where they came from or somewhere else. I always want to give them a high five, and if I have an opportunity to actually meet them in person, I do. I say, you know what, I really have a lot of respect for you. You had the courage and the balls to buy a plane ticket, come over, kick the tires, take the Philippines for a test drive, and decide it's not the make and model for you. So, but you know, there's no more doubt. You're not going to go to your grave one day saying, gee whiz, should I have given that a try, and go with regret. It's just one more thing you can check off your list, and I would say be proud of, so good on you. Why does it work for me? That's pretty simple. My primary driver, I've said 100 times, was I wanted to find someplace economically viable for me. I was just sick and tired of working and working and working and being on a hamster wheel. And I used to refer to it in my old videos as Groundhog Day, where today was just like yesterday, and I know tomorrow is going to be just like today, and I'm just going to repeat everything over and over again. I'm going to go to a job, I'm going to make my check, I'm going to come home, I'm going to pay for a bunch of crap that I don't need, I'm going to write those checks, they're going to go out at the end of the month, and then I'm going to have to start all over. So the burnout on work, the burnout on having a combative type of marriage to a woman for 9 years. And I'm not ex-wife bashing. Her and I are friends. We just didn't get along. We made a poor selection when we picked one another. And yet we had 3 kids, raised them, saw them off on their own way. And then after they were gone, and my wife and I agreed to disagree, and we had a very amicable divorce. We did it ourselves, no lawyers. We just went down to a legal aid place, filled out the paperwork, went down to the courthouse, filed it, and we were divorced. I agreed to give her this, and she agreed to take that. And we, anytime you want to see the kids. I used to call each other up. I used to try to unload the kids on her when they were still little and say, hey, what are you doing? She goes, no, it's my turn. I'm alone. So, okay. But the kids eventually grew up and off they went. And it was just little old me. And I had a little epiphany as I had an empty house and I came home every day, was I really looked forward to coming home, because although there was crisis and stress and nonsense and pressure at work, for once I could come home and find some peace and some quiet. There was nobody there injecting any drama into my life. If I had any issues or any problems, they were my own making. And I had to own them and deal with them and accept them. I also learned that by living alone for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years, I liked being alone. I didn't need anybody. I didn't need anybody's permission, for one thing. And I also didn't need anybody's validation for anything that I was doing. I feel like that really kind of empowered me as a man and as a person, that I think it gave me strength, that I was fine being by myself. I wasn't antisocial. If somebody would invite me out to lunch, sure, I'd go. If somebody was going to go play golf and wanted me to come along, if I felt like it, I did. But I was totally cool just being at home, being by myself. I could sit there and make myself laugh just, just by having funny thoughts and thinking about life in general, or reflecting back on a humorous moment, and read a book and watch TV, keeping myself busy, or better yet, not busy. Then I hit the magical age of 62, and I said, man, I do want to stop this. I enjoy being by myself. This is nice, but there's got to be more to life than just going to work, coming home, eating dinner, watching TV, going to sleep, rinse, repeat, do it again. I want financial freedom. And I came to the conclusion that it's not how much you make, it's how much you owe. How much are your bills? How much debt do you have? So prior to coming over here, I cleared off all the credit cards, the car, sold the house. Actually, it was a condo at that time. I'd moved from the house to a condo, sold that puppy, unloaded everything. I gave away everything that I had, except for some clothes, a computer, a phone, and I came over here with some cash. And for the first time in my life, I was making the smallest amount of money that I had ever made, other than when I was a kid working for minimum wage, and living better than I had plugging away 10, 12, 13, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week at a job. I realized that what I needed was shelter from the storm. I needed a safe, clean environment, my apartment at the time, and I needed transportation, which was a scooter. Once I acquired those two things, I didn't have any credit cards. I didn't have a car payment. I only had my rent. I only had food, and I was all by myself. And remember, a minute ago, I was perfectly fine being by myself. So my overhead was less than my little Social Security check. And for the first time, month in and month out, I started to save a couple $300 a month in and month out. And no more what I call financial insecurity, because I knew no matter what, whether I wanted it to or not, my little Social Security check was going to hit that bank account on the second Wednesday of every month. And I knew, because I'd set up a budget, that my bills, mortgage, air conditioning, I mean, not mortgage, but rent, air conditioning, I didn't have a scooter payment, but it's just gasoline, telephone, food, etc., was beneath that. And so, again, I was clearing money every month and just putting it away and keeping it in my little emergency fund. And I've been doing that now for 8 years. That has been one of the biggest transformations for me. When I came over here, I was on, I think, 4 or 5 different medications for anxiety, for pain, for this blood pressure, etc. I'm happy to tell you that right now, I don't take any medication except for an occasional Aloxan, which is a pain medication, like a Tylenol, over-the-counter thing. All the other stuff, the blood pressure, I go in, it's perfect. I've settled down, I've calmed down. I came over here with a lot of stress, a lot of bad memories. I had a lot of anxiety about things that had gone wrong in the past. And every year that I've lived over here, it's almost like shedding another layer of skin. All those bad memories are slowly but surely just being shed off and evaporating and falling further and further and further into the past. There's no reason to sit and live and dwell on mistakes or miscues or, I don't know, insecurities that you may have carried over with you when you got here or when I got here. It does no good. So I just focus on the now. I'm 70 years old. Time has become very, very precious to me. My thought process in regards to relationships with people has completely done a 180. When I came over here, I was absolutely positively convinced that I would never, ever again get into a relationship with a member of the female species. What do you know? About 3 years into my journey here, I met someone, my wife, my now wife, lived with her for 5 years, and then have been married now for 2 years. And that was one of the changes. I was able to let go of my perception of women, because women over here are a lot different than women where I came from. Much less combative, much less competitive, much more feminine. I've always said American women tend to be feminists and Filipino women are feminine, more worried about beauty and hair and makeup than, winning an argument because they're non-confrontational. Is it all perfect? No. Do I have spats with the old lady? Of course I do. And are they deal breakers? No. So I like to think of it as after 8 years, I've gotten rid of the demons of the past. I've managed to just forego them, forget them, and recall the fact that they're meaningless now. No matter what transgressions that may have been perpetuated upon me or that I may have perpetuated upon others, it's over with. There's no changing it. You can beg for forgiveness and you can give forgiveness. And as I look at it now, if you recall, the Philippines is a developing country. The way that I hook it into my life is that I am a developing person. I'm no longer on that hamster wheel. I'm no longer stuck in Groundhog Day. I'm no longer idling in neutral. I am constantly moving forward. I am constantly progressing. Hopefully, I'm improving. Hopefully, I'm learning. And hopefully, I'm contributing. Hopefully, I have developed into a better person here in a developing country. I hope that you may one day have the opportunity to, wherever you may be, wherever you may land, or wherever you may go, that you too find the opportunity to discover yourself, realize that you're not the bad guy that you thought you were, realize that you're okay. It's okay not to be okay, yet still don't dwell on it. Develop as a person along with the company or the country that's developing right along with you. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video.